Trust versus mistrust. I was born to my loving parents, Julie and Jim Acovski, on June 12, 1990. For the first year of my life, the three of us lived with my dad's parents. I called them my Baba and Dado, in Dearborn Heights, Michigan. Here, I was surrounded by constant love, support, care, and food. My dad's entire family was born in Macedonia and offered a traditional and yet zany and fun family unit. They moved to Michigan in hopes of fulfilling their own American dream, which they did successfully by owning their own bakery in the heart of Detroit. My mom, with Missouri and West Virginian roots, worked just down the road at a neighboring bakery when they met, fell in love, got married, and eventually had me. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. My dad's entire family worked day and night to make the bakery a success. My dad worked nights at the bakery, which prevented him from having the normal 9-to-5 routine like everybody else's dad, but I never really felt cheated. I was always amazed that my dad would leave for work after I fell asleep and be home again just before I woke up. I used to think it was some kind of magic, like he was a magician that traveled the mystical lands and faraway places in some kind of time-traveling device, or pretend that he was a superhero, out saving the world while I slept. When I look at my dad now, I still feel that amazement and curiosity, but now I'm certain of one thing. He really was and continues to be a superhero. Initiative versus guilt. But while my dad was away at work, I had my mom, and she was everything I needed. She provided me with everything that she could, which was always way more than enough. She always made sure that I saw both sides of my family frequently and felt safe and loved at home. We'd go for walks all the time, cook together at home, and even make impromptu visits to the mall to get ice cream and window shop. I never wanted for anything except for a sibling. At preschool, I'd draw pictures of my family with an extra person in the picture. I think I even had a few of my teachers convinced that my imaginary sister was real. My parents would tell me that they understood that I wanted a sibling, but ultimately, God would have the final say in the matter, so I waited. Industry versus inferiority. My first few years of school were wonderful. I made friends, I was involved in activities after school, including basketball, volleyball, and Girl Scouts. In this time, I traveled to Yugoslavia and saw the beautiful village my dad had grown up in. My mom took me to West Virginia, where I first saw and fell in love with its small-town charm, rolling plains, and enchanted forests. I knew, even at an early age, that I was meant to see the world, beyond see it, experience it. But when I was 9, while snooping through my mom's drawers, I stumbled upon a picture that would change my life forever. At first, it kind of looked like a black and white alien, but after a few seconds, I knew instantly what I was looking at. It was my future baby sister. I counted down the days and weeks until her arrival, and the minute I held Angela, I knew that of all the places I could travel and all the things I could ever see, none of them would ever come close to the beauty and promise I saw in her little eyes. Identity versus role confusion. Middle school and the first part of high school were just as wonderful for me. Though the numbers of friends I had dwindled, the few that stuck with me always felt like enough. I made decent grades, had continued support at home, but it did feel like something was missing. Junior year of high school, all of my friends were talking about the colleges they were applying for and what they wanted to do with the rest of their life, and I had no idea. That was when I found my love for theater. It was a way to get outside myself. I loved being on stage and working with others to create something special. It fueled me to look and see the audience engaged. They were laughing, they were crying. I had so many emotions inside, and when I was up there, I used them so that others could feel them too. The warmness in the heart, the chills in the spine. For that hour or so that the audience and cast were together in the theater, we were all unstoppable, because regardless, we were all together. United. The audience depended on the cast, and secretly, the cast depended on the audience. Family members, strangers, it didn't matter. We were all connected. I will forever crave that connection. Intimacy versus isolation. But the world of theater is harsh, and I got a lot more no's than yeses. While at a casting call one day, I was approached by a man who asked me if I'd ever tried to be a model. He implored me to meet him at his office, and when I complied, he offered me a job in his company, if I'd lose 50 pounds. Now, at about this time, I was about 165 pounds, but I never considered myself fat. I felt confident, happy, beautiful even. I thought about his proposal, but the next day, when I found out I yet again had not been cast for a show, I decided I'd do it. What more than 50 pounds did I have to lose? It turned out costing me a lot more than a few Jillian Michaels workout tapes and expensive healthy food. I got all the way down to 108 pounds. I never felt so sick, but the company had never given me more jobs. It wasn't until a routine checkup that I got the scare of my life. Ego integrity versus despair. My doctor called me 2 days after my visit with him. He told me that my red and white blood cell counts were off and that he wanted me to see a specialist right away. I didn't realize until we pulled under the gigantic sign that read leukemia specialist that it was serious. The doctors did some more testing, and in the meantime I tried to busy myself with other things. At night, I'd hear my mom crying, and in the morning, my superhero dad would look so defeated. But during this time, I didn't think about theater. I didn't think about seeing the world. All I could think about was how my mom would never be able to give me the wedding night talk. That my dad would never be able to bounce my baby on his knee. That I'd never see Angela off to her prom. When the results came back, we were all relieved. I didn't have leukemia, but my body had a desperate need to get healthy, and after feeling what I did, I knew exactly what I had to do. Generativity versus stagnation. With the help of my family, friends, and fiancé, for the first time in a long time, I moved forward. I graduated with my liberal arts degree from Oakland Community College and realized that there was a calling for me in higher education. I realized after my first experience working with children that it was no different to me than theater. I felt that connection and sense of importance with my students immediately. I knew that if I could help even one student find their own sense of importance and validity, that everything, my life, would be worth it. So here I am, with a second chance at life, with more blessings and opportunities than most get in a lifetime. This is my generation. Our generation, and it won't be lost. I will make a difference.